So our Office of Environmental Investigations is a separate program. They respond to over 7,000 environmental complaints a year. Through 311 we get them, and a variety of topics. So chemical, sewer gas odors. This could be something from a co-located business like a dry cleaner, auto body shop, beauty salon. We'll also respond to cases of friable asbestos. So meaning that if you have insulation that's in poor condition, for example, that's in your building, and we receive that complaint, we'll go out, we'll test the material to see if it contains asbestos in order repair of that condition. If there's active disturbance of materials that are thought to contain asbestos, DEP responds to those conditions quite quickly too. So this is only if it's not being disturbed, if it's just in place and in poor condition. We also respond to construction dust issues and soot conditions. Soot conditions we respond to very quickly because oftentimes it's related to an exhaust problem in a space. So we have concerns about carbon monoxide potentially. We also respond to chemical spills, mercury and other chemicals. We work with DEP on those conditions, and fuel oil spills, where we work with the state health department and the state environmental conservation. The program also responds to thousands of foodborne illness complaints. We get complaints through 311, but we also review social media for complaints about foodborne illness. And we're not involved with the letter grading. This is completely separate. We'll just be responsive to those kind of complaints. We'll do inspections of restaurants as well. And we can issue orders and closures as necessary. Next slide, please. Just ancillary, this is not a program. This is the Bureau's science advisor, Dr. Maureen Little. She's a board certified toxicologist. She also heads the review of the brownfields project for the health department. That project lies with the Mayor's Office of Environmental Remediation, OER, and the image to the on the right-hand side of the slide shows the locations of where the program has had projects. In addition, Maureen also is involved with more complicated projects of historic contamination from past industrial uses or prior businesses, such as a dry cleaner being in a location. Next slide, please. Our environmental exposure assessment and education program is primarily an education program, but they also do adult blood lead surveillance. So all the children go to healthy homes and those get reviewed there. All the adults come to this program. If the adult is a woman of childbearing age, they'll review those cases to identify if the woman is pregnant. If the woman is pregnant, that case gets referred over to healthy homes because of the unborn child and the lead concerns there. They'll provide case management and even exposure assessments to adults to try to figure out why there's an elevation. And it's not just lead too, they'll look at arsenic, mercury, cadmium, other heavy metals. Probably what they're best known for is the investigations they perform for hazardous consumer products, which you may have heard about being in imported cosmetics, supplements, spices, and ceramic ware. So the glazing on a pottery that comes in from outside of the country sometimes can contain elevated levels of lead and poison entire families. So they'll go out and do inspections in businesses to see if these products are being sold, and we'll embargo those products and try to get to the root cause, the distributors, to stop the sale of those products. Like I mentioned, they do a lot of education. They have educational programs for not just workers, but for the general public on these topics as well. Next slide, please. Our smallest program is the Injury and Violence Prevention Program. They work on data, program, and policy issues regarding intimate partner violence. And this is also in conjunction with other programs throughout the city, traffic collisions and Vision Zero, for example. They work on falls issues in older adults and child safety issues. They're also the home to New York City's participation in the CDC's National Violent Death Reporting System, and they compile all that data for the state of New York. So we're the home for that. And they also have some educational services too. So with older adults, they have falls prevention, education, that they'll go out and also work with our next program. Next slide, please. Which is our Poison Control Center, as many falls can be related in older adults to medication. The Poison Control Center, I really want to promote the Poison Control Center. It's one of the things that is available to every New Yorker, and people should avail themselves more to this service. It's 24/7, it's free of charge. We can speak to people in many languages, and this is probably the thing that holds people back. We see that the call volume from communities that are not primarily English speaking don't call as much, and we need to reach out. And I don't know if the district managers here can help us with a way to connect with people in communities to say that this is available to people. They can call 24/7. They don't have to try to get to the emergency room or primary care physician. They can get medical advice over the phone from registered pharmacists and nurses who are also required to be certified as poison information specialists. It's overseen by physicians, and so they can get questions about medicine safety, drug interactions, if they're taking medication, and they get like a stuffy nose, they want to take something like Sudafed. Is that going to interact badly with my medication? They can call any time of night. They don't have to wait to get a doctor or go Google it and get maybe not great advice. They could get professional advice 24/7. If there's a way to better connect people to this, please let me know. They also do a lot of community outreach and education programs as well. Next slide, please. And if you're interested in the workshops that we have currently ongoing, many of them are online. You can scan the QR code and get a listing of the presentations we're doing, or request presentations as well, or request materials if you want physical copies of brochures. That can be done as well. And I think the last slide is more traditional contact information, how to reach us by phone, and certainly the Poison Center's number is a local number, and the national hotline, which directs you to the locality based on the area code of the phone you're calling from. So if you're calling from a cell phone and it's an out-of-town cell phone, you might get to a poison center outside of New York City, but for the most part, those get directed back here to the downstate poison center, which also, by the way, services Westchester and Long Island as well. So that's the presentation. I ran through it kind of quickly, and I have to get going, but I want to take a few questions, and I want to stick around a little bit longer if anyone has any questions they'd like to ask.
Are there any questions here on the line? I see Community Board 7.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask if the materials are available in other languages for us to distribute. That would be helpful in our outreach. Often we find agencies don't have the languages that we request of them.
Yes, I can't guarantee that all the brochures are in every language, but we try to translate it to, I think, 12 languages. So most of the materials should be available in 12 different languages. 15, I'm corrected, thank you.
Thank you. The other thing, you had the list of the various places people can call. My only experience with calling was for my dogs, which you do not give advice on, but I was given another number. And I know in New York City, there are a lot of pet owners. If the number for animal poisoning could be added to that list, I would appreciate that.
Very good, thanks.
Thank you for that suggestion and question. Celeste, Community Board 4.
Yes, I have a few regarding the Healthy Homes program and specifically the repair paint certification. Are contractor trainings required for HPD funded projects? And then a follow-up to that, how do contractors find out about this particular certification?
Oh, that's great. I don't have an answer for you on that, unfortunately. I'll have to get back to you on that. I'm sorry.
And I have a follow-up in regards to just general construction. For the dust, the environmental investigation, how does the agency respond to those particular issues? Because it's the first time that I'm hearing Department of Health also responds. I know environmental protection usually responds to those. Is it inside the home only, or is it just inside for interior construction? Or
Yeah, that's correct. So for exterior community exposures, DEP is the agency that typically responds. For interior, typically it would be us, but also you could get a response from HPD or buildings department depending upon the condition, whether it's permitted work, et cetera. Yeah.
got it. And then I have a few questions. For food illness, any collaboration with the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, specifically regarding folks that are preparing food illegally on the streets?
We haven't partnered directly with that group, at least our bureau hasn't. And as far as, I don't recall us doing, that's probably going to our Bureau of Food Safety and Community Sanitation for operations that are identified as illegally operating. We'll be responsive to permitted businesses typically.
Got it. And my last question was just in reference to educating workers and the public to prevent future exposures. I just wanted a little bit more information. Is that presentations only, workshops, or videos? What format does that info come in?
It could be any of those. So we're open to doing either a workshop or a one-off presentation. Yeah, so we could tailor it to the needs of the group.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Celeste, thank you for your very wonderful in-depth questions. We've been writing some of them down. So for those, Chris, that she needs follow-up, please loop Borough Hall in so that we obtain the answer as well. I'm calling on Eddie, Community Board 13.
Sure. Hi. Good morning. You had a great presentation, and I think my health committee would love you to come to give it to them so that they can understand some of the services that you offer. And also, could we get a copy of your presentation too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. So one question that's going to stick out in my mind is that we have something that deals with, I guess, with the Office of Environmental Investigations, where currently there has been dredging in our Coney Island Creek, where there has been some hazardous toxic materials, and our concern there is the air quality. We have been trying to work with DEC and EPA and trying to get into a Superfund and all that fun stuff. And we just wanted to see if we could do something locally from Department of Health to give your input on that too. Is that possible?
Yeah. Well, typically with these community exposures, it's going to fall with DEP. Have you reached out to them about, and we'll often act as advisors to this, especially if there's sampling and there's some results that need analysis, we'll become involved. But typically that would fall with DEP. Yeah,
no, that's no problem. But definitely we want to have your service conveyed to our members. I think it's very helpful and at least a place to call for these type of emergencies. But thank you.
Right.
Thank you so much, Eddie. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay, someone just pinged in, but it's a phone number ending in 01. Go ahead. Someone just raised their hand using a telephone device.
They have to hit *6.
Hit *6.
Hi, good morning. It's Beryl from CB3. I just wanted to request a copy of the presentation because I can't see the contact numbers.
Okay, Beryl. Good morning, and we'll ensure that we get the presentation emailed to all district managers after this meeting.
Okay, thank you.
You're more than welcome. Seeing no other hands, we'll be moving along, and always remember the conversation doesn't stop here. We have and thank you so much for joining us this morning, Chris. Have a wonderful day. We have,
Thank you. So, I'm sorry, I got to run right away. I can't
no
stick around,
problem.
but
We get
appreciate
it.
the time. Thank you so much, everyone. And
Yeah.
I'll get back to you on the question I couldn't answer. And if there's any other questions that come up, we have Appia and Anna on the line here still with you. Okay?
Okay.
There are
Thanks,
two
everyone.
links in the chat.
There's two links in the chat. Thank you, Anna, for staying along. And Celeste, one of them have to do with a question that you asked previously. Okay, we have a presentation this morning from Mr. Razik Seabrook, who is a lead program manager for National Grid. This morning, he will be talking to us about the 2050 Climate Goals Vision Plan. Mr. Seabrook, good morning, and go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Pleasure to be here. Thank you, Carol Ann, for all of your help coordinating this meeting. Madam DBP Richardson, always a pleasure to see you. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Razik Seabrook, and I'm the new Brooklyn Community Lead at National Grid. It's a pleasure being here today with you all, and I look forward to working with you as I grow into my new position. Today, we at National Grid are here to present our clean energy vision, which is our plan to reach the goals outlined in the CLCPA. We know that some of you have reached out to us directly for a presentation, and we will coordinate with you all post today's meeting. But today, we just kind of wanted to give a broad overview for the entire borough. Our vision balances a number of interests and prioritizes, creating a clean energy ecosystem that is safe, reliable, and affordable. With that being said, I am not the subject matter expert. We have on here today McKay, who is a director in our U.S. strategy team, and he can tell you about the plan more in depth. So again, thank you guys for having us today, and I will turn it over to Mr. McKay.
Hi, good morning, and thanks for having us today. And thanks to Razik for helping pull this together. My name is McKay Miller, and I'm just going to give a brief overview of the plan and then open up for questions from everyone on the call. We can go to the next slide. The vision that I'll be discussing today was announced just over 3 weeks ago. We published our clean energy vision, which the first large utility in the country to outline a vision for getting completely off of fossil fuels by 2050. As many of you know, we deliver natural gas to Brooklyn that is used for heating buildings, hot water, cooking, and running businesses, laundromats, industry across the borough. Our goal is to replace all of the fossil gas that we use with a mix of energy efficiency, zero fossil gas, and electrification by 2050. This is both to meet the objectives of the CLCPA, as well as to keep us on track for local law 97 in the city. So I will go through some of the key components of this plan. I've put the link to the full report up here, nationalgrid.com/US/fossil free. If anyone would like to read the report, there's also some summary PDFs that are quite a bit shorter that we are also happy to circulate after the call. Next slide, please. The pillars of our vision, there are 4 of them. We have to really push on all 4 of these to achieve a fossil-free future for Brooklyn, for New York City, for the state. First is energy efficiency in buildings. As folks know, we've got a relatively old building stock in the Northeast and New York City in particular. We've got to continue to provide those programs that help customers save money and save energy in their buildings. That we're going to be focusing on working on deeper retrofits of buildings that tighten them up, make them more efficient. That's really important because it saves customers money, but also reduces the amount of gas and electricity that we need to supply into the city. I'm actually going to go a little bit out of order here and focus on pillars 3 and 4 next. Pillar 3 is hybrid electric gas heating systems. This is a type of system where customers can install an electric heat pump. Electric heat pump it's like an air conditioner, but it can actually heat a building in the winter as well. For a lot of customers, because the performance of those heat pumps, they use more electricity the colder it gets. A lot of customers that we're seeing across our territory, they're installing them for heat, but they're also leaving their gas heating system for those coldest days when it's close to zero. And so that's effectively a hybrid system where the gas heat can turn on during those coldest days. That actually saves money for a lot of customers, and it also reduces the amount of upgrades to the grid, the electric grid, that are needed. And it also results in less power plants being installed to serve those coldest days in the winter. By installing those hybrid gas electric heating systems, we can really further reduce total gas demand. So that brings demand down even further on top of that energy efficiency in pillar one. The fourth pillar, where it makes sense, we think targeted electrification, moving from gas to either full air source heat pumps or geothermal heat pumps. Those geothermal heat pumps install an underground system of pipes that can really create a very efficient heating system. We're already piloting this in Long Island and working with setting up some new pilots in New York City about this, but this is an extremely efficient form of electric heat. And this electrification and geothermal can further reduce total gas demand. And after you've done pillars 1, 3, and 4, then you can, or alongside that, you can replace the fossil gas with a mix of renewable natural gas that's sourced from decomposing waste. That's wastewater treatment, farm waste, etc. And you can replace it with green hydrogen. That's hydrogen made not from natural gas, but hydrogen made from electrolysis, which is a process of taking wind and solar power, splitting water, and making hydrogen. These are the 4 pillars of our plan. I've got quite a bit more detail on these, but we won't go into them today. Be happy to answer questions on them after I'm done with the presentation. We can go to the next slide. This slide shows how heat is provided today, and then it compares, that's the top bar chart. What you're seeing there is that about 57% of buildings that we serve in both New York and Massachusetts are heated with gas. There's about 25% of buildings that are heated with some sort of delivered fuel. That can be oil or propane. There's about 13% of buildings heated with electric resistance. Those are like the baseboard heaters that you see in some homes. And then that little sliver, the 1% there, is buildings today heated with heat pumps. Our plan is the bottom bar, where we see in 2050 about 50% of homes being heated with electric heat pumps, and then the other 50% heated either with gas or those hybrid heating systems that I was discussing earlier. This is different from the pathways that have been published at the state level, which you see in the middle bar here. The middle bar proposes heating about 90% of buildings with electric heat pumps and the remaining 10% with gas. Ours is a more balanced plan, quite a bit more affordable to put in a hybrid heating system or to heat with fossil-free gas than it is to retrofit your entire building and move completely to heat pumps. So we think that the affordability and the practicality, especially in Brooklyn, where a lot of buildings are difficult to fully electrify, is a real benefit to our plan, and it paves a more practical pathway to achieving a fossil-free future for New York. Next slide. We've also really worked hard to put some milestones between now and 2050. It's not enough to just look out 30 years and think of what the future is going to hold, but we have to start thinking about what we need to do along the way to get there. So we really need to be setting the foundations for fossil-free heat right now. That includes some policy changes that would allow customers to procure hybrid heating systems and green gas more cost effectively than they can today. It would also include additional policy to increase the building codes to make sure that every building that's built moving forward is more efficient than the buildings we've been putting in place. By 2030, we need to be scaling a whole broad set of solutions. And by 2040, we need to be seeing wide adoption of all of these fossil-free heating types across the board. Under our vision, the state of New York could be net zero by 2045, and by 2050, 100% fossil-free heat. On the right-hand side, you'll see a diagram here. I know it's probably a bit hard to see on the screen, but there's a version of it in that report that I mentioned earlier. You can look at how we see all the pieces fitting together. Some electric neighborhoods, some hybrid neighborhoods, some geothermal neighborhoods, and green gas coming from wastewater facilities and offshore wind creating hydrogen. So we've got those diagrams in the report that help put it all together. On the next slide, you'll see a much more detailed set of milestones that help paint the picture of how we would get to 2050. I won't go into this right now, but just know that if you go to that report, you can get a bit more into the details. I think I will stop. What's the next slide, Razik? Yeah, the rest of the slides are going into quite a bit of detail, but I think maybe a better use of time would just be to stop there. We could put together a longer briefing if folks are interested later, but I'll stop there and happy to answer any questions. I see at least one hand up.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that presentation. Do we have any questions from our district managers? Beryl, I think your hand is still raised from last time. So if that is the case, I will just okay, Laura is.
Thank you. CB15. We were a storm ravaged community. We're on the water. I'm just trying to see, how are you handling communities that are water based? We do a waste treatment plant in Sheepshead Bay, but Manhattan Beach, Sheepshead Bay, our areas were underwater at the time. How do you foresee that? How are they planning that national grid?
Well, I do know that we've really stepped up our assessment of which of our facilities are most vulnerable to that sort of superstorm that we've been seeing. So I'm not the subject matter expert in that area, but I could work with Razik to get a more thorough description of our storm prep. That would be useful. Happy to
Absolutely. We can follow up, Laura, and get you some response to that.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Celeste, Community Board 4.
Thank you. Covering Bushwick, and I just had a question. Are there any examples of current facilities or areas that are using fossil-free gas or the renewable natural gas?
Yeah, we've got Oregon and California have both recently set standards for obligating their utilities to procure renewable natural gas for their customers. So California has set a target of 12% renewable natural gas by 2030, and then escalating beyond that. Around the country, there's about 120 plants producing renewable natural gas today. Our plan would require about, as you saw in one of those slides, about 260 such plants by 2050. We think that's a very achievable number. This renewable natural gas plants have been increasing about 30% per year. So we're we're one of the first utilities to really be pushing in this direction, but we see this as a very achievable amount of renewable natural gas to procure. But happy to put together a briefing on or more material on what other states are doing in this area. We're really seeing a lot of action in California.
Got it. And just a quick follow-up question. It may be too soon to say, just as a district that has a very small burdened homeowner population, is this going to affect small homeowners in any way where they would see additional costs on maintaining their property?
We would expect small homeowners, but also renters, to see quite a few advantages of this plan. It doesn't require fully retrofitting your heating system. That's actually one of the biggest ticket items in in the pathways that the state has published. Putting a heat pump system, moving fully to electricity on a home can cost between $20,000 and $40,000 for each individual home. In contrast, the hybrid heating systems that we're looking at here are moving to fossil gas is going to have much lower upfront costs and just be a lot more affordable for small homeowners as well as for renters and landlords.
Thank you.
Thank you for those questions. Again, to all the DMs, we will ensure that we get you a copy of the presentation. We've also been jotting down the questions and we'll circle back to ensure that everyone receives follow-up. Giving a last moment for any final questions. All right, seeing none. I want to say thank you to you, Mr. Miller, for your presentation, as well as to you, Mr. Seabrook. We look forward to working with the both of you and will be a good partner to you here at Borough Hall. Feel free to reach out to us. Moving on with the agenda. Let's see. We will go straight into the district manager updates, and then we'll bring our updates from Borough Hall. Caroline, assist me please by calling the roll, each district manager, and let's let them give their updates.
Hi, CB1. CB3, any updates?
No.
Beryl, didn't hear you. CB4, Celeste.
I would just say, I'm not sure what kind of updates we usually provide, but I would just say we're seeing an increase in rodent concerns coming into our office. We generally get like a standard amount per year, but I would say that's probably doubled or tripled in the past 2 months. We're not really sure where it's coming from. You know, there are the irregular factors, and we're going to be following up with the Department of Health to address this, but I wanted to flag it just in case other folks are seeing a similar spike.
Thank you, Celeste. That's the exact type of updates. Anything that in your mind as a DM would be important to elevate to this level is the type of update we want you to bring. So for those, as we continue to call your community board, you keep that in mind, and whatever it's on your mind to notify Borough Hall and the agency partners who you know are on the line. Go ahead.
Thanks, Celeste. CB5. CB6. Mike, I know you're here.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me from CB5?
Oh, yes. Hi, Melinda. Sorry. Yes, I can
No
hear you.
worries. No worries. Good morning again, everyone. CB5, we really just wanted to just alert everyone to the fact that we're facing this upcoming ULUP item at the junction, the project over there that will be impacting not only CB5, but of course 4 and 16 as well. And they recently broke ground on the new HRA center that is coming at 2440 Fulton. It's not in CB5, it's actually based in CB16, but it's a result of the East New York rezone as a part of that Broadway Junction project. So I just wanted to alert everyone that we will be having a series of meetings, one in particular happening this evening with some local folks and coalition members here based in East New York at 6:30. If you're interested in attending, please send an email and I'll be sure to send you the links. Thank you.
Thank you, DM Perkins. This is exactly the type of updates we're talking about, and I appreciate it. Go ahead, Carol.
CB6, Mike. CB7, Jeremy.
Let me say first that Metro Sound Pros came and did an evaluation of technology that we have in my office. We are awaiting a budget estimate, but I believe I'm going to be able to pay to be able to do hybrid meetings in-house once I get my new equipment. Outside of my office is a different story, and I'm going to get another budget estimate for that. 4 years, June will be 4 years since the 4th Avenue bike lanes were installed, but they still have not been completed. And I will point out that last week there was a terrible accident and somebody was killed on 4th Avenue and 21st Street. We really need to get those bike lanes finished. And then finally, since the last time we met, there was a terrorist attack in my district. For years, we were asking MTA for cameras in our subways. Apparently, I should have been asking for working cameras as they were not working in 36th Street. We've also been asking for secondary egress for decades. The video shows us that there was only one way out of that subway station. There was no accessible exit for people who may have had accessibility issues. And now MTA is coming to us for a letter of support to expand the subway system. I would love for them to finish what they need to finish first before we talk about expanding the system.
Thank you for that, CB7. Is someone trying to respond? Okay, hearing none. Thank you. We've captured it. CB8.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Ms. George, District Manager, aside from piggybacking off of what District Manager Leone said regarding rodents, we do not have any other updates.
CB9, Dante.
Yes, good morning, everyone. So I'm not sure if other DMs are having this issue, but we just received a complaint, which I can only imagine is going to grow, that folks who live in the neighborhood are using like the school playgrounds for their dogs and their pets. Those pets are using the restroom in the playground. Kids are falling. You know, if they're falling into urine, that's not very healthy. So I know that I had already reached out to, I think it was the Parks Department, to inquire if they had specific signage that could go up at the parks. I know that some have them, but people don't really look at the signage, and the signage really isn't that good. From my understanding, also the program for the signage was also defunded. So, you know, I think that this is something that definitely Borough Hall could assist with. I can only imagine that other community boards have the same issues. You know, if children are going outside and they're stepping and playing in, you know, animal, yes, then, you know, that's a huge health issue, and that I definitely would like some assistance with that.
Okay, so thank you for that update, CB9. We will definitely circle back. I do recall seeing those canisters where you can pick the plastic bag out. I don't know how it has changed since they've banned plastic bags, because that was the type of plastic bags that were in the canister, but we can look into that. And other DMs, if that is a problem for you and some specific parks are showing signs of this type of negative behavior, then others, just let us know. We'll do a targeted approach as well as a blanketed one. All right, CB10.
10.
Good morning. So CB10 has also been grappling with a large spike in rodent and rat complaints. And we have been working with our business improvement district, and our board has also decided to do a community outreach on rat prevention. We feel it's important. We are actually shocked at some of the areas in the district that have seen an increase in daytime sightings, and has a lot of our neighbors upset. I probably receive at least 2 to 3 calls per week now. I also just want to share with everyone that I know many boards in Brooklyn and citywide have been dealing with the issue of commercial trucks and vehicles and storage on residential streets. That's another issue that CB10 has partnered with our community, our elected officials, to try to think outside the box to address this issue, which is a important concern to our community residents who live in the residential districts and are impacted. And I will certainly share updates with the Borough President's office and my colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that update. So it sounds to me that your rodent problem is in the business area. Is that true?
It's both. I would say in certain, it's pretty targeted when we map it. Yes, it is in the business district, but also along some of our parkland and areas alongside the highway. So I think, looking back at it, Deputy Borough President, that during the pandemic, a lot of Department of Health staff were reassigned. And some of our smaller rat issues, I think, have just grown and exploded. And a lot of the outdoor dining areas, I think, rats have found homes because we're getting reports of rats coming out of some of these outdoor dining structures.
Oh, no. Oh, no, we can't have that. Oh, no. Okay. And let me just cross this because this is my second time hearing rats. Celeste, is the rats coming from your business district or is it residential?
It's a combination. We get both. So we have right now, we're seeing an increase in complaints about tree pits in particular. We've also gotten them from different properties, folks that don't live in the building that's the center of the rat population, but they hear them in the walls. Usually when there's vacant or neglected homes, that becomes a bigger issue and then no one's responsible for it, makes it really challenging. And then often we find when businesses or anyone calls, they're getting fined by the Department of Health for even bringing the issue to the city's attention. We've had to reach out to the Department of Health for folks that have already worked and hired exterminators to do full abatements around their properties. So I know some of those have been dismissed, some of those have not. We've also had to reach out to NYC Parks Green Thumb and some of our garden groups because we've seen rats taking safe haven in the gardens as well.
Yes, Celeste, now that you mention it, we've had some issues with our trees. We've actually lost several trees due to rat infestation, which is the first time I've ever seen. I'm not an expert by any means, but we have also seen that in tree pits as well.
I just want you guys to know I'm over here and I'm saying, no, Caroline, we can't do rats. I can't do rats. Oh, no. Oh, no. Department of Health, just know Borough Hall will be calling after this. We will definitely follow up along those lines as well as we did capture all the other issues that you've raised about commercial trucks and stuff like that. So we'll definitely make sure we follow up.
Definitely. Everyone who has a rat problem, just drop me a line. We'll try to get some sort of coordinated action by DOH on that. And something that sort of, because they did have a program some years ago that allowed them to inspect without giving tickets. And maybe that went away, but we'll see what we can do.
Yeah. CB11.
Good morning. We have had rat issues like everyone else. In the past, we have done targeted saturation mailings and translated materials from the Department of Health, and that helped for a while. But following the pandemic, we have seen an increase in the amount of rat complaints as well. And we'll join our colleagues in addressing in any way that we can. One of the problems is, we know we have to get rid of the garbage. If we maintain the garbage on our commercial corridors and our residential buildings, we have seen an increase in the amount of placement curbside. Sometimes they're as high, the bags, as 5 feet. If we can tackle that, I think we'll be able to tackle some of the rodent infestations. And other than that, I have no other updates.
Thank you for that.
Hi, Marnie. Is there any containerization along your commercial streets?
I have pockets of the commercial corridors that have higher rat incidents than others, but like Josephine said, I have along the waterfront and the apartment buildings, and it's just providing a feast, the residential garbage that's placed.
Okay, thanks. We'll be following up on this rat thing. Downtown Brooklyn had a huge problem. It's still a big problem though, but I've had to deal with that a lot in the past. So, CB12.
Hi. So I just want to bring up an issue I had actually 2 weeks ago into last week. I had a very simple problem here, a technical problem in the office, called Do It. It took them 6 days to even assign it to a person. and it was a simple I knew it's a simple problem. I just didn't know how to fix it. I actually had to call the CAU to get them involved to actually do it and have somebody call me back. And sure enough, when somebody called me back, it was fixed immediately. They still haven't filled Joe Coluccio's spot, and they were blaming the lack of response to having not filled Joe Coluccio spot. And I was like, this is New York City. I mean, you can't, because one person's not here. And actually I had a different issue, and I called Joe directly last week, and he was kind enough to help me, even though he's not working for the city anymore. But the reason I'm saying this is because he did tell me that he's trying to get his job back. So what I would like for Borough Hall to do, if Borough Hall can reach out to do it and tell them to please swallow their pride and rehire Joe, because they don't seem to be able to fill his position. So if Borough Hall can please, lobby, do it to rehire Joe.
Barry, what kind of bacchanal you want to put Borough Hall in? We just started laughing. Listen, at first I didn't know he was trying to get his job back, nor do I know the premise or why his job is.
He left his job because he didn't want to get vaccinated.
Well, I don't want to get into the middle of that on this call, but let me do say this. I do think that it is insane that in the great city of New York, that we are chartered mandated boards that are operating. We can't do simple HR items as well as regular IT things. And even with this meeting today, you all see how it is just a connectivity issue for all of us. This issue is on the tip of all of our tongues. It is known by our borough president, who I will make sure to tap when we are off this line to say, hey, you gotta press the city to fill this position, because it is not just us in Brooklyn who is suffering. It is also a citywide issue. And so you've just given me a little bit of information here that I didn't know before. I'll do what it is that we can do within the advocacy realm.
Either they rehire him or they hire somebody else, but you can't leave it.
You got to do something. Something has to be done. There's no way in a COVID time where we're all leaning on technology as heavy as we are now that you can't get a password reset. I know someone couldn't approve time sheets, different things are going on with this system. And we're getting the emails here at Borough Hall. Praise the Lord for our Caroline Church, who's the filter for most of it. But I'm very aware, and I just want to say that I agree. And I do see a rep here on the line from City Hall. I hope they are listening and back taking the information that simple daily functions of IT needs are not being met in the Kings County. And we're gonna follow up about that, okay? All righty.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem, and thank you for speaking up on it.
Eddie, 13.
Sure. So what they could ask Joe Coluccio do, if it's possible, is hire him as a consultant, so that they could do it base by base and make a yearly contract so that at least he can do it on the side job for us. That's a suggestion. Okay. Some of the things that our board has brought up was the open meeting law. It's going to come into play with us in June. We have to, as the states, have to go back in person. Our members are uncomfortable in doing that. And because of, if I know some boards are doing it, but they're concerned that they can get sued by somebody who's saying that, this should be public and that the members should be there on at the meetings. We are at a point where we could do a hybrid in-house for the committees, but when it comes for the full board, that's going to be very impossible because facilities don't have a big screen, don't have tech that we can use. So that's one of our main things going forward between now and June. And also, just a point of information, June is our election. So if we don't have a full board quorum in person, we won't have elected officers. So that's where we're standing right now for that part. All right. Second thing, rats. Yes, we do have rats too. I think our part is that we do have a problem because we're right by the beach, so we have the water rats. We also have problems because of the new construction. We have all these new construction with buildings coming up. The high rises and the sewer lines are being torn up at the same time, so there's no place for them to go but into the houses and to the businesses. So new construction plays a factor. We have worked with Department of Health in the past to bring down the Rat Academy, and they have done that, which is very nice. And they have brought inspectors down here to look at some of the businesses that were being bad neighbors, and they gave them advice. And I guess they let them know that if they don't shape up, they're going to get a fine next time they come out. So that did work, and we still, of course, have the problems of it. Because there's opening season for the amusement area, the beaches are going to be opening right now. The weather being nice, I should be out there. But let's see. But we have a problem with two things: illegal vendors that goes onto the boardwalk. As mentioned from CB4, they're from merchandise to food, and these are just bad vendors that don't have any accountability to it. And DCWP, of course, gives it off to PEP officers because it's on parkland, which is the boardwalk. But when it gets off the street, they said, well, then you contact sanitation or the health department. And DCWP, of course, does not have enough enforcement people in their unit. I think they have 25 for all of the city. That means only 5 per borough. And 5 per borough means there's 18 of us. They can't come to each one of us. So we ask them to come during the weekends because that's when the most tourists comes in. And that's when the most illegal vendors come out. Also, we also have on the boardwalk is the motorized bikes, bicycles and bikes. It's illegal to ride bikes after 10 a.m. Because of the crowd, which we understand, but they still come on the boardwalk. I know that the PEP officers is working with the NYPD, the 60 precinct here, but it's just, it's not giving them hard enough, I guess, hurt in their pockets. They don't want to pull a person over, ticket them, but they're breaking the law. So I just feel that somewhere, somehow, they have to enforce that problem there. We also have, we know that the subway safety plan is coming out, where that at the last stops of the train, all the homeless people are supposed to be kicked off the subway and off the station, which is good and bad because our last stop, we have 4 trains at the last stop and we get all of them coming down to Coney Island. So when they get kicked off of the subway, they go into the community, which leads them to the beach. Since it's getting warmer, they can now camp on the beach, on the boardwalk, in the streets. And we're just concerned that it's going to be a repeat of that like last year. So hopefully I know that they're supposed to have mobile units for the safety subway plans for giving the people services. So if they do that, we would like to see them here. We haven't seen them here yet. Our concern is more of the after hours because during the regular hours, they can walk around, but it's after hours where they have to find a place to sleep and do their business. We just don't know where they're going to go. Well, we do know where they're going. They're going to the boardwalk. And one last thing, which I don't know if you guys heard, but they're looking into Coney Island to put in a casino. Yeah, they're looking to put in a casino in Coney. They're doing a focus group right now around the area. They came to us and we told them our needs of what is needed in the neighborhood, and if it does come in, that they have to give something back. We don't need another Atlantic City where they built it up and forgot the community. 30 years later, they finally built it up, but you know what? It's too late. So we want them to be very transparent, very helpful to the people that are in the area. They're going around to stakeholders, to the residents, and to everything. As you know, nothing is set in plan right now. There's supposed to be 3 what do you call it, licensing going to the area. We know one is going to Aqueduct, and we know one of them was mentioned at Willets Point. So that leaves one left. So it's not going to go back to Queens. It's not going to go into Manhattan. Manhattan doesn't want it. Staten Island, they don't want it. And the Bronx is too close to Empire casinos. So it leaves Brooklyn. So Brooklyn, of course, one of us, as you know, is a C7 zone. It's pretty much an amusement area. So they're looking at our targeted area as one of the possibilities. So just to give you a heads up on that, we don't know what's good or bad, but you know, we're here to listen to their issues. And that's my report.
Thank you for that robust update, Eddie. You've definitely dropped some first-time information
Sure.
for us. I can tell you that a lot of these things are moved through the state with these casinos,
Yeah.
so we need to get our state reps ready to defend it.
Yep.
I had asked Carol Ann to set up a side meeting with you because there was a lot of things that you said
Yeah,
that
sorry.
on it. So thank you for that, and I
Not a
want to move it on. I'm going to ask the district manager to give a little grace to Sue Ann Partnell from Community Board 18, who's asked to go next because she has to hop off quickly for another call. Sue Ann, you're going to have to make it brief.
I'm going to make it very brief. Thank you very much for letting me jump in. I appreciate it. Big problems here, abandoned vehicles with out-of-state plates. Once they're tagged and towed, an hour later, they're back on the streets again. So we have a major problem with that. Sanitation and police have been helping, but their hands are tied also. So I'm not sure where we go with it, but that is a major problem in the area. Speed bumps and speed cameras. Everybody wants one or two on their block. I know that's impossible, but we'd like to get them in the schools zones. I know DOT had said that they would work on something like that, but it's still pretty far out there, and a lot of schools and areas around the school haven't received them. And then just quickly, DEP, they have property here, property that we're on. They don't maintain the property is large. It goes from Bergen Avenue to Flatlands Avenue to Pattagate Avenue. It goes from this area all the way into Canarsie, and they are not maintaining and they are not responding to us. So that's another problem. And just on Joe Coluccio, we'd love to see him back also, but he's, even as a vendor for the city, he cannot come back without a vaccine. So that's a rule that the city has. But that's it, and I appreciate it, and thank you all, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you so much. We've captured that. And now we're moving back into order.
Sean, CB 14.
Hi, thank you very much. Just going down the checklist here, rats, yes, we get them because we have tracks going both east, west, and north, south. We get them from the little bit of green space. Our commercial districts, especially where there's outdoor dining, where there's construction, is another source, and that then totals our district. So everywhere, but for that collection of reasons. We have found that the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene is responsive when providing Rat Academy, and that's a pretty comprehensive, useful tool. And they've also been responsive about abatement, but these one-off spots and one-off groups that take advantage of the Rat Academy, it just isn't overarching enough. So I understand this has been recognized as a citywide problem. I heard something on the radio the other day that there are going to be citywide efforts. So I think maybe we should sort of tease out what those are and ensure that they're applied in our respective districts. Trucks, especially tractor trailers, unattached trailers, Josephine, we've got that. We share that issue, trying to get my community to call it in so that it's registered in the system as chronic locations. And it's the little bit of enforcement that can be afforded just isn't effective. I think maybe there needs to be some new rules in terms of what can and can't be parked even in the commercial districts in our streets. And then, and Dante, also dogs too. I think that this has been recognized as a citywide issue because during COVID, everybody tried to beat their loneliness by buying a puppy. So dog ownership is way, way up. And there are some pilot programs in the village that I have on my list to look into to see if there are any best practices or applicable resources. And then I will end with a quick thanks to you, Dante, to CB9 in general, and to my neighbors in CB17 who assisted us with outreach and support for our 15th annual youth conference, which was a success and we enjoyed it, but we really appreciate the help from our colleagues and neighbors. Thank you.
And good morning again. Thank you for that update.
CB15.
Hi, good morning. I'll probably echo what my colleague said. I was having some technical difficulties bouncing in and out. But we're having issues with commercial vehicles parking in residential areas. We have trucks and trailers. The 61st precinct has been responsible, so kudos to them. But they're limited in their resources and how to address this problem, which seems to be in every neighborhood. So I've been getting constant complaints on that. Some sanitation issues, but sanitation has been responsive also. So businesses have been privatizing our streets. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. So they've had storage and carts on the streets, blocking our streets and making it difficult for residents to pass. So working with sanitation on trying to reel them in to be better neighbors. This weekend we have the Bay Fest in Sheepshead Bay on Sunday from 12 to 6. It's music and entertainment, and it's been going on for many decades. So welcome to come to the neighborhood. Hopefully we'll have nice weather, and that's all I have to report.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Laura. CB16.
Good morning. As previously stated, CB16 also has a problem with the rats, commercial vehicles parking on the street. In particular, we also have a problem now with the yellow school buses parking on the street, which is a problem. At night, we have folks, because they cannot find legal parking, they're now double parking at night, which is a really terrible situation that we must deal with here. So if anybody has a solution, we're open. Thank you very much.
Thank you. CB17.
Yes, Viola, I join you in that complaint regarding the school buses. Unfortunately, there's not too much that we can do about it. Our office is located directly across from a school, and believe you may have seen young kids making out in the buses because the doors are left open, and they open the doors, they go in any hour of the night. We've made several complaints, but I'll talk to you about that offline. In terms of my report, we're embarking on a study and capital project regarding some leaning homes located on the strip of Clarendon Road between Albany Avenue and East 49th Street. For some years, we were told that those homes were built over on top of streams. And now the leaning homes really tell the tale of that structural deficiency. Besides several leaning in the buildings, the street has incurred sinkholes. This will require a massive and expansive infrastructure study to resolve the issue. So we will be revisiting with our elected officials and schedule meetings with the agencies, that we actually need to bring together to start a study in that area. In addition to that, we are diligently working on the formation of bids along some of our commercial strips, Clarendon Road, Avenue D, and a continuation from where the bid stops on Church Avenue and take it further down. In addition to that, we're working on an initiative to keep our commercial strips clean. I join with everyone, the rats, the strips are not clean. Utica Avenue, Church Avenue. I know a transportation team. We're diligently working on putting together an initiative where we believe we'll be going out there and informing and educating businesses on how they can assist us in bringing our scorecard ratings up a little. On a lighter note, we have a number of events scheduled. we have our spelling bee competition. We did not have it in 2 years due to COVID. Still a date we have to confirm a date for the spelling bee. Our health fair and housing fair is scheduled for June 18th at Pattygut Park, and our yearly youth happening. Again, for the past 2 years, we did not have that event, but this year we're looking forward to having that event at Pattygut Park again on August 4th, and everyone is invited. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharif. And since CB 18, Sue Ann already went, I think we're done with DM updates.
I just want to make a point that they mentioned about the speed bumps. They recently are putting out a pilot for sound bumps or sound cameras for the people who have the loud mufflers and stuff like that. The DEP mentioned that they done a study with these cameras in Newtown Creek area, and eventually they will be expanding this. So is there any way you guys can find out if Brooklyn people can get it too? Because this is how they can catch the people who are making the loud muffler sound backfires and give them a ticket.
They don't have plates, Eddie.
No, but they have a way of doing it. They explained it to me, and I thought that was very good of way they can tackle it, which is basically taking a picture, taking the sound of it, and they have to come there to verify it's their car that it isn't theirs, because they have to put a sound monitor to them, and they will check it. So, like I said, it's all in the works right now, but we should see if we can request a sound camera for our area that have loud noises in the middle of the night or even during the daytime. Okay, just point information.
That works for music too, Eddie?
Music too, anything that's louder than whatever decibel that's allowed on the books, and they don't have anybody there standing there anymore. It's on a camera that does take the sound. So we'll wait and see how it works.
All right, we will wait and see how it works. All right, district managers, thank you so much for all of your updates. Borough Hall has noted it, and we will circle back where appropriate. If any of our agency partners are still on the line and would like to please bring an update, just raise your hand. In the meantime, I will direct folks to the chat to see that the BPL has shared some information there for us. All right, great. I see hands going up. Carolyn?
Doreen Zong, followed by Brian Fagnoli.
DEFTA and OEM.
Hi, good morning. I don't have much to update from DEFTA, but I would like to share some information that might be beneficial to your constituent. And I don't know if HRA is on here, but I will just go ahead and give that update. So starting May 2nd, all income eligible New Yorker, they can submit their Home Energy Assistance Program form, which is known as the HEAP application. So they can start doing that. And also just the Biden administration announced yesterday that the 20 leading internet service provider that has agreed to offer basic low-cost plans that would be free for millions of Americans and after a refund. So these companies, they would provide an internet plan that would cost no more than $30 a month, and that provide a download speed at least 100 megabyte. So they're fast enough for everyday usage. And so the lower income the population, they can sign up through an existing program. It's called Affordable Connectivity Program, also known as the ACP program. So participants, they can get discount up to $30 per month, and basically so they can get it for free if they're eligible for this program. And so they can sign up through these participating companies. And that's it from my updates.
Thank you so much for that update. I'm calling on Brian from NYC OEM.
Hey, thank you, Madam Deputy BP. Nice to see you again, and nice to see you as well, Carol Ann, and everyone else. I know these dates have passed, but May 1st through the 7th is Hurricane Awareness Week. We want everyone to get ready for the hurricane season. We're having officials from NOAA and FEMA at the end of the month, and we're going to release a press release on that and have some more information. We also want everyone to go to nyc.gov/knowyourzone to find their hurricane evacuation zone. As many of you know, last year, these zones changed based on new data from the federal government. So we want everyone to be cognizant of that and to check where they live and also your family lives to make sure that is part of your emergency plan. I know I sound like a broken record when I say this, but May is National Pet Month, and as far as I'm concerned, every month is National Pet Month. So we want everyone to include their pets in their emergency plans. Make sure your pet has a go bag. Ensure that you have a picture of your pet. In case you get separated in the go bag, make sure you have some food and their vet and any medication written down, and where their hiding places are in the event that you have to evacuate your home. We've got more information available on our website for pet preparedness. We are recruiting for Community Emergency Response Team, or CERT members. These folks are dedicated volunteers who help prepare their neighborhoods and communities for different types of disasters. We have 2 classes scheduled to begin in early June. One is on Monday and Wednesdays, and the other is Tuesday, Thursdays. This is an 11-session training that will be delivered as a hybrid training, half virtual, half in person at 165 Cadman Plaza East. In order to be eligible for the CERT basic training, interested individuals must apply online at nyc.gov/certapply, and you must attend a mandatory orientation for that. It's getting nice out, and we are taking requests for Ready New York. So if you're having a health fair or any sort of fair and you'd like us to come table, we can do that. We can also come and do a preparedness presentation on how to get people personally prepared. And we also are doing virtual presentations. So however you'd like to do it, as long as you give us about 3 weeks notice, we'd be happy to try to staff that. And as always, sign up for Notify NYC, the city's official source for emergency alerts and information on important city services. nyc.gov/Notify NYC. Call 3011, follow Notify on Twitter, or download our free mobile application for Apple and Android devices. We have that available in multiple languages, and it's also available in American Sign Language. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to take that.
Thank you so much, Brian. Any questions for him? Okay, seeing none, Brian, just know that Borough Hall will be reaching out to you to set up a time to talk further. Thank you for joining us today.
Sounds great.
Absolutely. Wait, I did see a hand go up. All right, not a question, but another presentation. Anastasia from the Community Affairs Unit, go ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Deputy BP. Nice to meet you. Good to see everyone. So a few updates from the mayor's office this week. We have Mayor Adams committed $47.6 million in funding for New York City parks and New York City DOT to connect greenways across Brooklyn. And this investment will fill gaps in existing greenways routes along Brooklyn's southwest shoreline, with a focus on connecting communities to New York City greater park system. And for Brooklyn, it will work improve access to the waterfront by building new greenway segments in Liv Erickson Park and reconstructing the existing greenway in part of Shore Road Park. And also yesterday, Mayor Adams and Chancellor Banks joined by union leaders in support of mayoral accountability for New York City schools. Mayoral accountability is essential to initiatives that will help address the impacts of the pandemic on learning and puts all students on the path to success. Mayor Adams outlined a bold agenda for New York City schools that excludes expanded opportunities for summer learning, a renewed focus on literacy, screening and early interventions of dyslexia, and providing every student with a pathway to a good paying career. If the state does not take action by June 30th, control of city schools would revert to the centralized system of 32 school boards that existed prior to 2002. And that is a system that proved vulnerable to politics, corruption, and bureaucracy. That'll be it. And we know that it's Happy Asian Pacific American Heritage Month and Jewish American Heritage Month to the Jewish community. Thank you all. Good to see everyone.
Thank you so much, Anastasia. I also seen a rep from DOHMH Afia. Go ahead. Afia, your hand is raised. Perhaps not.
Hi, do you hear me?
We hear
I
you
was
now.
muted. Yes. Good morning, everyone. My name is Afia Frimpong. I am the North Brooklyn Community Liaison for the Office of External Affairs. We don't have much updates, but just to inform community members that right now the city is at level medium for COVID alert. So we are seeing a surge in cases and hospitalizations in New York City, and our current COVID-19 medium again is at medium. It's strongly recommended that New Yorkers stay up to date with COVID-19 vaccines. Get vaccinated and boosted if you haven't already. Wear a face mask in public indoor settings. Get tested if you have symptoms, were exposed, traveled, or were at a large event. Stay home if you're sick. And if you are unvaccinated or at a high risk for severe COVID-19 illness, or if you're working, living, or interacting with high risk individuals, take additional precautions. And again, you can go on our website to get the most recent COVID cases and stay up to date as to what guidelines are. And I also just wanted to touch on the pest control concerns. I want everyone to know that our team is diligently working to respond to all the pest control complaints that we're getting on 311. And I strongly encourage people to please send me any complaints that have been neglected, because sometimes if constituents call 311 and they don't provide detailed information, that case does get closed out and it's never responded to. So again, continue to encourage constituents to file 311 reports. We are getting it. As you know, because of COVID, a lot of our team was redirected to different areas to respond to COVID. But now we're back on the field and we're working and we're doing our best to respond to all the rodent concerns. So again, I just want to let everyone know that, we do hear your complaints and continue to voice your opinions so that everything can be answered diligently. That's all the updates I have now. And I'll put my email in the chat so that everyone can reach out to me if you have any other concerns.
Afia, we say thank you so much. This is just the way we want agency partners to bring a very robust update. We appreciate it. Is anyone else on the line that wants to bring an agency update? I will note that Juliet Lewis from Con Ed has dropped some information in the chat. I ain't know about that 1-800 number, Juliet. Is that a main line or a direct line? Because we don't want to get the hotline trying to call Con Ed now for resolution.
That is customer service, and they are well trained to address many of the issues. But in the event some of them don't happen, you can reach out to me. I should have put my email address, but you're more than welcome. And many of the district managers know me and my team in Brooklyn. So we've been very helpful, and we continue to support you in your concerns.
Thank you, Edison. Any of our other community partners are on the line to bring an update? Okay, if not, I will go quickly through the Borough Hall update so we can move this along. As you guys know, we've been very busy at Borough Hall. Thank you to our Director of Community Boards, Carol Ann Church. It has not been easy getting through the reappointment process, but we are nearing to the completion of that. Thank you, Lord. Since we've last seen everyone, we had the inauguration of our Borough President Antonio Reynoso on April 24th. It was really phenomenal. We were able to see his family, but also an excellent showcase of vibrancy and culture throughout the borough of Brooklyn. Happy Heritage Month to all the Asian Pacific Islanders, as well as all of our Jewish culture, our Haitian brothers and sisters. It is just a time, and it is a season for celebration to be seen. This is going to be a Brooklyn for all. We invite everyone to please get into collaboration with Borough Hall about planning of any events to celebrate culture and heritage. June will be Caribbean Heritage. You'll see a lot going on for that. But we will get all the contact information. So here's what I would like to see. So I'm saying this as notes for Carol Ann. If you want to request space, we're going to get you the link. If you want to request proclamations, we'll get you a link. And we'll get you all the links for like meetings and all those things, as well as a comprehensive for what we have, most up-to-date contact sheet on the who is who within Borough Hall doing what. Just know we continue to build our team. We're continuing to still hire, but that's just what's going on. But to the best of our ability, Brooklyn Borough Hall is back open again for everyone. The borough president released and announced his maternal health task force, which will inform all the borough president's programs that will ultimately close this crisis level like disparity with maternal mortality that is happening not only in our county, but beyond. And so we will look forward to seeing what that task force produces for us. But I can tell you the borough president is definitely putting his money where his mouth is in this budget season. Excuse me 1 second. The official administration transition report was released about 2 weeks ago. I suggest everyone go ahead and take a look at that. It'll give a little roadmap to what our priorities are and how we envision reaching our goals. But just know that that is a living document. As all of us have to be fluid to the times, and we also look forward to receiving feedback from all of you guys as community partners. As a reminder, graduation season is soon about to be upon us. Reach out to the local schools and make sure folks are okay. I know there's a lot of sites that went offline because of COVID. We could try to be of help to anyone, let us know. But this is definitely a season of celebration for our young people. Let me just say, it has not really been easy for young people in this time. And as I now go back out and I'm going to schools and colleges and I'm talking to the young people, making it through COVID and still obtaining their educational goals really has been a lot of very, very difficult. So we have some merit-based awards that are coming out of Borough Hall to present at graduation. Please ensure that your school community knows about them. One is the Merit Award, the Perseverance Award, and also the Brooklyn for All Award. Within your emails, you should have the description of the type of student that should receive said award. I would love to make sure that every school within all these community boards has a student that is being honored and recognized in this season of their graduation. We also want to support our agency partner, DYCD, and ask that you inform all your constituents about the available opportunities to join the neighborhood advisory boards. The neighborhood advisory boards are fiscally looking at our neighborhood in a way that does make impact. Some boards have a lot of vacancies, and we're going to work and get them that information to say which boards are where, so you guys as our community partners could help us to fill some of these seats. There are literally 71 vacant seats in Brooklyn. So we have got to look better than that, and we will by this time next year or so. But let's just get the word out about community boards. So now here I have this note here in big bright red. The remote meeting order is due to expire on June 7th. So please begin planning. Eddie, at the beginning of your update, I did hear you, and I'm sure that many of the board shared the similar concerns. If you guys need meeting space, please consider using a public school. According to DOE, you should be able to go to the public school and speak to someone, fill out the form and submit it. Using a public school is free. We have already had that back end conversation between Brooklyn Borough Hall and the DOE. So we know that this is doable and possible. Please reach out to Carol Ann Church should you need any assistance, and we will call us, whatever, but we're going to do our part to make sure everyone is properly cited to follow the law. This is not about our personal opinions about how we feel, but it is a job that we are all here tasked to do, and that is just what we have to do. And to answer the question on everybody's minds, once again, we are almost done with this community board appointment process. Literally, as this meeting closes, I will try to get down and meet with the BP about it. And then we will definitely let everyone know about the swearing-in ceremony when that date is cemented. Am I forgetting anything? And is this concrete before I say it? Yeah, we good? All right, I just want to make sure it's concrete before I say it, because listen, I know this is not the group to falsely be giving promises to, but for next month's June meeting, we will have our DOT being the main presenter, which I'm going to ask all of the boards in the next, let's say 14 days, because it's 30 days between now and that meeting. Please get Brooklyn Borough Hall all of your DOT concerns. Trust me, Jeremy, I see your hand go up and we have your list. So just know that I know that you've sent it, and I did also note everything you said in your oral report about what's going on in your district, and definitely sending you guys love and light. Look, it is about to get warm in Brooklyn. And I think that what we are seeing is that nothing is not everything about us trying to assume normalcy is just not. It's not normal. People are not acting normal. A lot of abnormal things are happening. And I just ask all of us to just do our best within our spaces to give grace, but to be solution oriented where we can, and to support one another as tragedies will continue to strike across the borough. I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you for being a partner to Brooklyn Borough Hall. Know that we are coming on this line to meet once a month, but you can feel free to reach out to us at any time for anything that it is that you need. I'm going to ask one more time, does anyone have anything to bring before we close out this May meeting of the Borough Service Cabinet? Go ahead, Jeremy.
So I want to bring up a similar experience I had with Barry, with CAU. Wednesday, the 27th, I was no longer able to use Microsoft. I couldn't sign in. So I reached out to, Do It, not CAU. So I reached out to Do It. Didn't hear back from them all day. And then I was on vacation Thursday, Friday, and Monday. Came back to the office and I had an email from Lily saying I hadn't turned in my timesheet and please do so. So I sent Lily an email saying I have no access to city time. Please advise. Didn't hear from her.
Okay.
I
I'm
would
gonna
like to
ask you, because this should have come in the manager update when we called for everybody. This is, I'm gonna follow up with you off the line about this. We've already noted the issues about Do It. We'll record your personal testimony.
But it's beyond Do It, Madam Borough President.
Deputy Borough President.
I'm sorry, Madam Deputy.
Follow up with you off the line to ensure that we capture this.
I'd like to thank Anna, though, for doing what she did.
30 seconds with people's individual issues that we could have captured during the point of time when we called on each committee board for their update. Seeing no last final words, I thank everyone for joining this meeting, and we will follow up with everyone who had a question, comment, and concern accordingly. Stay safe and have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great one all.
Thank you. Enjoy your balance of your day.